calypso. Come and flavor up, we rap so with your lingo.
Entro porque entro y cuando entro soy violento. Entro en la casa de los 13 elementos. Oye cómo va a mi salso manifiesto. Oye cómo va a mis mejores sentimientos. Son con mi Maradona, I flow like a Madonna. Oye cómo va, mi catira no perdona. Oye cómo va, el peligro en mi zona. Oye cómo va, mi 13 te desploma. Y pa pa pa, revienta aquí mi zona. Y pa pa pa, presento mi persona. Y pa pa pa, revienta aquí mi zona. Y pa pa pa, presento mi persona.
Oye cómo va,
cómo va, cómo va,
el ritmo bueno pa' gozar,
pa' gozar, pa' bailar ya,
mulata. Oye cómo va,
cómo va, cómo va,
el ritmo bueno pa' gozar,
pa' gozar, pa' bailar ya,
mulata.
I sit to listen to the music between you and me. It's inevitable like the river to the sea. From the island to the mainland, we make the harmonies, the melodies, the rhapsodies for all the world to see. The possibilities of living in love and unity.
Aquí T a la R, a la E, a la C, a la E, con mi L, a la C, a la D. Y vuela y despega y baila en pareja y salta y truena, morena, mi nena. Oye cómo va, siente aquí mi vena. Oye cómo va, siente aquí mi avena. Y pa pa pa, revienta aquí mi zona. Y pa pa pa, presento mi persona. Y pa pa pa, revienta aquí mi zona. Y pa pa pa, presento mi persona.
Oye cómo va,
Cómo va, cómo va, cómo va,
el ritmo bueno pa' gozar,
pa' gozar, pa' bailar ya.
mulata. Oye cómo va,
Cómo va, cómo va, cómo va,
el ritmo bueno pa' gozar,
pa' bailar, pa' gozar,
mulata.
I'm a retro, what's my petrol? Touch the techo, rock so man electrifying, I'm undefined. I know the feeling, you're feeling, so dance and show me that you're feeling it. Jump up and show me that you're feeling it. Scream, oh you come over if you're feeling it. Get mad now. Scream.
el perro carnicero, ahora con mi sonero, el Five Times Rojo, el agua de coco, el 13 diplomático, mi flow en automático, revienta aquí mi zona, presento mi persona. Yeah.
Oye cómo va,
¿Cómo va, cómo va, cómo va?
el ritmo bueno pa' gozar,
Pa' gozar, pa' bailar y ganar.
mulata. Oye cómo va,
¿Cómo va, cómo va, cómo va?
el ritmo bueno pa' gozar,
Pa' gozar, pa' bailar y ganar.
oye cómo va, el ritmo bueno pa' gozar, mulata. Oye cómo va, el ritmo bueno pa' gozar, mulata. Oye cómo va, el ritmo bueno pa' gozar, mulata. Oye cómo va, el ritmo bueno pa' gozar, mulata.
Oh, yeah. I woke up this morning and I feeling nice, but the path that I chose comes with battles to fight. As long as I'm living, my future is shaping, and where I am heading, got no time for problems. Hold the weight on your shoulder, put the problems behind you. If you fall down, just get up and get your head out the dirt. And when they try to bad mind you, and they talking behind you, don't let nothing bother you. Put your hand in the air and everybody. I woke up this morning and I feel it nice. Hey, hey. Woke up this morning. Step forward. Everybody, move forward. Everybody, step forward. And I feel it nice. Starting now. Ale, 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 ale. It's time to get up and start moving. Ale, 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 ale. Leaving all your problems behind. Ale, 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 ale. We pressing on to our victory. Ale, 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 ale. Oh, oh, yeah. Everybody, hey, step forward. I move forward. Step forward. I move forward. Step forward. I move forward. Step forward.
And they have no manners. Let's try that once more. Good evening, Cafe Blues. How are y'all this afternoon into evening? Where's the time? It's no, it's evening for sure. Evening for sure. Evening starts at 6 p.m. Anything before that is afternoon, right? But when you're in Trinidad, we say good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Yeah? So everybody, good night, good night, good night, good night. Or no, or let's still have the work energy, and I don't want that. This is a mixer. This is the opportunity for you to talk, to let your personalities come out. I know most of us are familiar with the atmosphere of Cafe Blues. It's to sit down and be very quiet. No, this evening is not about that, right? We're getting to know each other. It's like official Macoing. People actually tell you, come to Maco. That's wonderful, isn't it? So let's try it again. Use your vocals. Greet me. Good night, good night, good night. I can get a little something. Let's make some noise and get some energy going. Give me something. Nice. My name is Jarrell Forbes. I'm going to be your MC for this evening. And I'm going to just guide you through this evening's program, right? In other words, I'm the person telling you what to do. Because in a mixer, sometimes we don't know where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do. I'm that person who will direct you, who will help you. Yes? So this evening, I would like to officially be the one to welcome you to tell your story. This is an artist and creative mixer. Now, we, of course, living here in Trinidad and Tobago, we can boast, and we do boast, of having talent out of our throat hole. If you ring we hand, talent will come out of our pores. You could put a Trini anywhere in the world, and we will definitely stand out. Naturally, our skill level is at the top. However, what they don't teach us is that in the business of the entertainment, talent is just about 10%. And you can go anywhere in any of the schools in this country, even private schooling. Other creatives have opened up their space and develop your skills. But where do you learn the business? Where do you learn how to convert your talent into a brand, into a tangible product? We don't have that many spaces here that does that. And so, this evening, you're going to learn how you go about doing that. Matter of fact, what we did was, we get some guinea pigs. Let's call them guinea pigs. Better, let's call them featured creatives. We have 11 featured creatives who went through a small program to learn how to convert their talents into a brand/product. And for the rest of us who would like to know how to, that's why we're here. And that's why we're mixing and mingling, yes? So don't be afraid to walk up to somebody and talk to them. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I just sing. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I from Arima, you know. My aunt, she had a piano, and she teach me Mary had a little lamb, and that's how it start off. Anything. We talking, we liming, yes? So everybody, let's just do a quick warm-up. On your feet, please, stand. You see, this is why we're doing this part. Because somehow they feel you're here to sit down whole night. That's not what it is. Right? Good. Give me 3 jumping jacks. Ooh, nerves. Nerves. Men, sit back down. What is going on? It's to get the blood flowing because you cannot sit down the entire evening. You need to mingle. What do we need to do? Hey. What do we need to do? All right, so before we move on, I want to invite the producer of this evening's event and, of course, the head of this project. Ladies and gentlemen, you can take back your seats now. You can take back your seats now, right? Now that the blood runs to your foot, let me start something else. Hands up. Well, you don't put your hand up at all. Hands up, everybody. Out, up. Out, shake your fingers, rotate your wrists. No, you don't rotate your wrists at all. We have plenty injured creatives in here, boy. What is this? Rotate your wrists, nice. So now that you're warm enough, you can give me a round of applause. Your cue is, oh, you're ready to go. All right, usually there's a cue, you know. You know, in music, when you're reading scores, you know where your markers are. There's a cue. So your cue this evening is when I say, ladies and gentlemen, or can I have a, things like that. You give me a round of applause. So let's practice. Ladies and gentlemen.
Keelan Whitlock, Keon Delas, Harmony Farrell. Am I missing anybody? David Barrow, right? So these are all the people who assisted me in guiding these 11 persons into, you know, just helping them along the path to a successful career, all right? I really hope that it's something that can continue. I see the possibility of it because there is a huge demand. There are a lot of musicians, creatives who would have come out of school and stuff, and they are really skillful, but they don't have the fundamentals and understand what it takes to take their career further. So I think with more programs like these, with the support of ministries, Ministry of Culture, Sports and Culture, these other agencies, I mean, Music Titi would have done something similar to this. I think Power Media House has something similar to this. Right. Power Media Hub, sorry. Right? And so there are other agencies that would have things similar to these, and I think we still need more because there is a wealth of talented individuals out there, and I mean, we come to create. We just never really think about the business side of things, even I myself. I come here to create. Why should I have to study accounts and ledger and contracts? But it is needed, it is important, all right? So let's have a great time. Let's start the networking, all right? Thank you, everyone, for coming out, and let's get the show on the road.
All right, thank you, Kyle. So before I go into the next part of the program, just by projecting, what are you expecting as the invited guests? What are some of the things you're expecting or looking forward to about this evening's mixer? Anybody? breaker issue, which is why we are projecting right now. And so we ask you as our audience to support us in this whole technical matter so that Kygo will be damaged any nice words, right?
Right. So next up we have Mr. John Waterman, political guitarist, bassist. John, he's also a past student of UB, and he's just going to share his experience of the program. Alright, let's welcome.
Alright, so good evening, everybody. As Kyle said, my name is John Waterman. I would just give my experience from the events. I would just start by saying it's so nice to see a lot of people that I don't know yet. Also, a lot of people that I know and what I've been for years. Carefully good of each other. We need a lot more understanding. And I hope that even outside of events like this, we will continue to check out our artists and see what they do. Right? So, those of you all who were here in the beginning, you all would have heard Kyle say that the program that we were doing was divided into a series of workshops. And so the first workshop, right, was on music as a business. And the presenters there were Simon, Anthony, and Martin. And one of the things I appreciated about that workshop was check 1, 2. Yeah, all right. Yeah, one of the things I appreciated about that workshop was after Martin's presentation on, he really did a good job of laying out how the music industry legally is set out, right? And divided up mostly into live and recorded music. That really sparked a healthy discussion between all the presenters and all the participants. And as Kyle said, we got to hear a lot of these stories, but for me, I think one of Simon's contributions in particular was about what is the value that promoters look for, right? And I think that as artists, telling our story is important. For plenty of people, we would think that making money is very important, but people spend money on what they value, right? And so hearing from the promoters and stuff what they value, I think was really helpful for me. Right? I also appreciated Anthony's presentation because he spoke a lot about creating bios and presenting ourselves and documentation. But what stood out for me in that workshop was the need for us as artists to record our work, right? And to keep a ledger of all the things we do, because the difference between those who do that and those who don't are clear, and you always hear about it in the big celebrated events when people have this long list of credits following their name. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of us have lists of credits which are the same length, and they have their own importances. And Anthony helped us to see that as important and to give us the tools to record it. So the next workshop was on music law. That was with David, Rachel, and Keon, right? And David's workshop, for me, David Barrow is chairman of CUT, something. He working on CUT. Yeah, he in CUT, yeah. He helped us to understand how CUT, the process they actually go through in gathering the information to pay out the royalties and distribute, right? So I enjoyed that. Keon gave the workshop on writing contracts. And for me, Keon was like the best man at the wedding who just will fix up your color, dust off your shoulders and everything, and just make sure your checklist, when you're ready to perform, is prepared, right? And all of that goes into the contract, and you really have a sense that I have a sense of completeness in heading into the gig, right? That the important things are covered. So I appreciated that. Rachel's presentation was very heavy, right? On intellectual property. What I appreciated about it the most was that it helped me to think of my creative work as my legacy. And I think that a lot of us as musicians, we tend to think of our work just as our bread and butter, or about what we would live off of, or what could sustain us during our lifetime. But after Rachel finished speaking, and she stressed so much on make sure and have possession of your thing, whatever is yours, right? You make sure and you have your name on that, right? That carries years after, right? And that forms part, especially us as Trinidadians and us as Caribbean people who is still in the phase of solidifying our identity, right? That kind of message is very important for us. And then after that, the workshop after that was on branding with Keelan and Harmony. Yeah, from Keelan's presentation, it was on branding and your image. What spoke to me was, it was special as a musician who also does photography, as I see my brethren, David, in the corner here, right? Well, they call him for keyboard gigs now. He's take good pictures, but he's play keyboard real good too. But is engaging all the senses in our craft. I see my friend Janine here, who she plays keyboard too, right? right? But also, right? Also an exceptional visual artist, right? And so that aspect is very important to us, because the fact of the matter is, even though most of us here are musicians, our message engages the whole person, right? And that whole person has more senses than just the ears, right? So this is information that we could also use to express ourselves well, right? And Harmony's presentation was on using the different social media platforms to promote our work. And the message I got from that workshop was just, well, I'll backtrack a little bit to say that I think the two main categories that you could classify post on social media are short form and long form, right? They have a whole set of other metrics and factors and stuff. But more or less, for me, that helped me to see the value in both the small moments in creating and in the large productions, right? And the value throughout the whole process, and seeing that all of that is marketable value, has marketable value, right? So I would say that was my wrap up for the artists and stuff. One of the things I gathered about the state of the industry is, I would ask all of us here, right? We just need way more investment in the music and the creative industries, right? They have so much here. They have real money that is passed for all kind of thing, right? But they have so many performance spaces all over the country, right? They have the street to the stage, right? Restaurants, villas, bars, corporate spaces, the elevator, the whole music on the phone, right? The radio, all of those are spaces. And we have a whole pool of people here who have the skills to fill those spaces, and we're not investing in that, right? So please, the other thing I think the industry needs, which I would applaud all of the presenters for, and especially Kyle, is leadership, specifically servant leadership, right? You need somebody who has recognized that they reach a certain place, they have something to give, and they have a desire to serve others. So Kyle, thank you for seeing your contribution as just more than for you alone and for bringing it to us. As Kyle said, we also had rehearsals, and I would say everybody is seeing here, these guys are extremely talented, right? I know big musician, I ain't big like some of the guys here, but I've been around, right? And I could tell you the stuff I have heard in rehearsal. These are guys that definitely can bring value to whatever you're doing, right? They have something to offer, right? So guys, keep doing what you're doing. It's a pleasure working with all of you, and I'm looking forward to us playing later, right? The reason why I really like events like these is because it's not a parlor, right? We aren't just here to consume, but all of us here, I know, have some aspect of service provision, right? So, in other words, we are the ones who have not just kind of thought about who we are in life and just kind of went through the motions, but we made concerted decisions to take our craft and to do something with it, to share our story, right? And so each of us here have a story, right? The people here whose pictures are on these tables and the people talking, right? And so I would encourage you, right? Apart from the monetary value, really take this opportunity to listen to people's stories, to add to your own story, and let us tell our story as Trinis, as Caribbean people, as men, as women, as musicians, etc., right? Let's let our stories be heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John. You real talk there, no? Yeah. Now you get on. Right, so thanks to John Waterman, right? I think he shared, that was not summary, that was a long story. You told your story, for sure, right? One of the things he said was, with respect to, like you would see work and is the credits, when you look at the credits, it's a long list of names, right? And even with me putting this together, I knew I couldn't do it all alone, right? I don't have all the knowledge. Everything that they went through, I also learned from it as well. As much as I may have had more experience or whatever, I also was a student just like them, right? And one of the members of my team, Ms. Rachel Collymore, she's a passionate consultant, creative strategist, publicist, and WIPO certified IP trainer. Now, if I go into Rachel's bio, that one will be a long story too, right? She's a prolific poet. So she was also one of the facilitators, and I would like to invite her to the stage to share what she thought about the program and her experience.
Good evening, everyone. As Kyle said, I'm Rachel Collymore. I was happy to be a part of this session that took place over the last couple of weeks with Kyle and his colleagues from UE. What was what was supposed to be just a session about introducing persons to the world of intellectual property was a very engaging session in terms of how each presenter's presentation connected to one another. So we had David Barrow, who represented CUT. We had Kian Delas, also from UE, who also presented on music contracts, and myself, who spoke about music law as it relates to understanding IP, how IP plays a role in your brand, how it plays a role in terms of what you do as a musician or a creative practitioner. Overall, I felt that these were very enthusiastic persons who were very serious about their craft and what they would like to do moving on from their studies with UE, moving on in their career, and what they need to do in order to take it to the next step. Over time, what we've realized in the creative industries is that Trinidad and Tobago is a melting pot of talent. And whilst we have talent, we also could do much more in terms of how we now represent that talent and how we now push the envelope further in order to make it to the international stage. And we have examples of that within our diaspora. So what I would like to encourage persons who are interested about music, interested about any aspect of the creative industries, is to understand your craft. I had the pleasure of having a conversation with Kyle's supervisor, Tamara, who was talking about that. You need to be a student of your craft. You need to learn your industry. That's the only way that you can move forward. That's the only way you can build and grow. So as each and every one of you are here, and each and every one of you who may also have some kind of link to industry, continue to represent, continue to encourage your brothers and sisters, encourage those who are coming up in the ranks who may be needing a helping hand to move the envelope a little bit further. It starts with the knowledge sharing, and it starts with the money as well. So both are needed in order to help our industry thrive and our industry to grow. So thank you once again, and I look forward to seeing what these creative practitioners do in their career. Thank you for having me.
I know started to get a little comfortable in the back, you know. But anyhow, thanks to Rachel again for her contribution and all the other facilitators. I'm not sure if everybody is here. I think some of them will be passing through a little later, right? So we had a lot of talking. I think you all have an understanding of what the program entails. And as Rachel said, I think, you know, I think we all realize that we need more things like this. We need more programs like this to educate the upcoming musicians, because they can be easily taken advantage of. You know, people play on other people's ignorance, and we have to try to change that. We also have to, I think, diversify our economy. We still can't be so heavily dependent on oil and gas. I think the creative sector, the creative industry is a huge place that we don't really tap into. You know, so I think we need to really start securing it and putting things in place for a better tomorrow. You know, we have Carnival, which is supposed to be one of the greatest shows on the earth, and you know, we still, it's like we're still learning how to do things, even though we have had Carnival for how many years? You know, we're still making errors, but slowly but surely we will get there. And maybe with programs like these, we will show them how to do it, right? Right? That's what we're saying. All right? So I'm going to take you all to this stage now. We have an item, so you all could turn around, you all could, right?
This is Tell Your Story 2024 festival project led by Kyle Peters. Coming to the stage now, Alexandra Stewart is the only three-time champion of the First Citizens National Poetry Slam and the only poet to be in the winner's row 6 times. She is also the 2023 winner of the NGC Bocas Youth Writer Award. When she's not on stage, she's teaching poetry workshops and English classes. She loves to meet new people almost as much as she loves the color yellow. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Alexandra Stewart.
Really a pleasure to be here. I'm especially excited because as an audience, you've already proven that you're attentive and you could get loud, which are the two things I love in my audience, right? So let's get warmed up real quick. Can I hear you say, mm? Can I hear you say, mm, with your lowest registers? Mm. Now we're talking. So if you hear anything I say tonight that makes you feel like a mm, I want to hear mm. Okay, can I hear you say, uh-huh? Can I hear you say, mm-hmm? Can I hear you say, oh-ho? Anything tonight makes you feel like a mm-hmm, a eh, or oh-ho, I want to hear it. I want you to consider this performance a duet. My lines, your responses, us together, good experience. Sound good? Fantastic. I see some mm-hms practicing already. So this poem is called Exposure, but most people call it Starving Artist. The name is artist, starving artist. I have a question about this absurd E-word that every artist has heard when it comes to the talk of payment. I need to know how to use it to pay rent. I need to know if it's worth more than 2 cents. Can anybody tell me the exchange rate for exposure? Anybody check if First Citizens let you cash it in like checks in First Citizens would make Maximan vex and curse or worse, end up extinct like T-Rex in hearse? If instead of pay, they just say, thanks, drive, you was real good. Yesterday, this starving artist walked into the all-you-can-eat buffet, placed an order, tried to pay, but the cashier said, hey, we don't take payment that way. So I put the exposure back in wallet back in back pocket, and crawled home on broken belly to belch out this poem. The first draft was not just upset stomach, but whole body furious. It was the sharp nail of a gas pain. But I can't drink the tea if I'm about to spill it. And you can't recommend Lipton after my lips done split to spit a rhyme to trip a guilty mind, because whoever feels like I owe them are not coming to perform in your show them. I am here to show them clarity. Unless it is for charity, don't ask me to perform for free. But plenty people will see. Because if you check the dictionary currently, exposure is not a form of currency. So before you ask, I gone like current, be like current gone because you can't see your free performances costing me? And when I object, you want to be accosting me? Somebody please explain why they're quick to put the artist's name in the program but not in the budget. And when you state your price cheap and nice, they still try to make you budget like cost is the same thing as a countdown. Like they don't know when you hit 0, the only thing left to do is blast off or stay. Because we have all done gigs for next to nothing pay. Now, nothing is wrong with an exchange based on mutual admiration. I am not up here bad talking collaboration. It's the straight up exploitation when they're paying for everything else, right? The stage, the food, and the spotlight, and if I rage, I rude, and so it's tough life, but it's not like we out here trying to make a killing. We out here trying to make a living. Trying to make sure we have a place to live in. We would all like to have a house in Freetown, but even they say, you can't pay the light man with a song. Did you know the recipe for a clap is just 2 empty hands? You think an applause makes it hurt less? Just admit you think my work is worthless because I don't work at clerk desk, have the audacity to ask me, but when you get in a real job? So because you're making dollars between 8 to 4, that's also the only time you're making sense? My job is 24/7. When last you worked past 11, we might be starving artists, but our art is worth more than your cheese, puff, and chubby, so no. You cannot pay us with refreshments, buddy. You think that's what we mean by let's get this bread? Now, if you're shaking your head and you're offended, then you're exactly the person to whom this is intended, because when I put my growling stomach to the mouth of this microphone, the only thing you could cook up is excuses. So here's a recipe to put your money where your mouth is. In this kitchen, if you can't take the heat, you could get out. But I will follow you till you find food for the same mouth you like to hear sing and do that free speech thing, because it is time for the starving artists to eat. Thank you so much. Y'all were a fantastic audience. I could absolutely tell some of you felt where I was coming from. Now, if you really enjoy spoken word poetry and you would like to see me perform again, I will be in the finals of the First Citizens National Poetry Slam. So that is this month on the 28th in Queen's Hall. My Instagram is @TalkToTheFro, so you could always pop on over there and message me for tickets. Have a great night, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once more for Alexandra Stewart with Exposure. It's time for us now to move on to our panel discussion. And before we do that, I think it's important for you to know who our panelists are. So let's get to meet them. Our panelists are sitting on the lone couch in this event, so I can't quite see. But if, of course, you're not a panelist, this is your moment to probably shift to the side a little bit, right? So we're going with our first panelist. We have Kitwana Israel. He gained his Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics, but parallel to his academic life, Kit has been heavily involved in music production for approximately 14 years. This has always been his other passion aside from math. Shortly after leaving his day job, he opened his music production company, Advocate Productions, since 2012. As a native of Trinidad and Tobago, Kitwana believes that he and every Trinidadian has a responsibility to nurture Trinidad's future and culture. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Kit Israel. Next up, Janine Ruiz. A musical creative, of course, from Trinidad and Tobago, with a diverse skill set encompassing compositions for film, music production, live band arrangement, performing, music education, and animation. Graduating with first-class honors from the University of the West Indies with a BA in musical arts, Janine has collaborated with an array of artists, including Nadia Batson, Nyla Blackman, Calypso Rose, Los Alumnos de San Juan, and aspiring creatives. Ladies and gentlemen, next we have Janine Ruiz. Let's hear it. Nishad M., Trinidadian born, of course, is an award-winning singer, songwriter, and producer who has been performing on international stages since the age of 8. His vocal and songwriting capabilities cover a wide range of musical genres, including chutney soca, Bollywood, and R&B. Nishad is a two-time chutney soca monarch champion, winning jointly in 2018 and 2019. He was also named brand ambassador for Carifesta 20.
If we go dark again, no screaming and keep your hands to yourself.
talk about your journey as a creative and how you have made it successful for you.
Right.
Right?
All right, good night, everybody. I actually like the little midnight vibes that was going on just now there. I mean, we had to give it up for the musicians, for sure. All right, I guess to answer the question that Kyle posed, my journey has been a very interesting one, very special and deep to me because it actually started with the birth of my first son. So I used to work in Amalgamated as a manager there. Nobody could see me as a security guard. So, and I had a job and so forth, but then I had my first son and I realized at that moment that I needed to do something a little, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, I realized at that moment that I needed to do something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life because I don't want my children just getting stuck in this cycle of 9 to 5. And I saved up a lot of money. I left the job. My wife hated it at that moment. And her mom definitely hated it because it was quite secure. And fortunately enough, doing about 3 years in soca, we ended up winning Soca Monarch with Ola Tunji Ola. Right? So that was the first major success that we got. Hey, look, Millbeats, boy. Whoa. Right? And from there, it just kind of skyrocketed where we did Hello from Kess. Then we did Tender with Patrice. We did Bossed with Marshall and Bungie. We did Come Home with Nyla and Skinny Fabulous. We did Drink and Party with Viking. I mean, I could just keep going. But fortunately for me, I had a degree in maths before, so I was always very calculated with what I did. I'm not very good with accounts, because I don't like numbers, but I like logic, right? There's a big difference between accounts and maths. But anyway, why I'm saying that, I was always very calculated with every step that I did, and I understood that this environment that we're in, it's not just about me alone. It's about humans and relationships. And business, in my opinion, it doesn't exist to me. Humans exist, and the business is a concept that we apply between humans, right? But a lot of humans tend to forget that it's humans they're dealing with. So they're dealing with business in their own mind, and they think that it's only affecting them, but it's affecting everyone around them. And fortunately for me, I've managed to get the success, and I've been working full-time as a producer / writer / background vocalist / therapist. Yeah, boy. Yeah. For how many years? For 12, 14, wait boy, an old boy. About 14 or 15 years straight. So I have not worked a day job in a long time. I don't like waking up after 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, before 9 o'clock in the morning. And I have the comfort of staying home and doing the work that I love to do. So, I mean, I'm just giving you a backstory so that you understand who I am and where I'm from. I'm from Diego Martin. I'm a West boy. You know, I represent the West. Yes, vibes. And you can hear it in my voice. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, any questions, I put it on the floor. I mean, one thing I would like to say before we open the floor for questions is that if we understand that we're dealing with humans, you have to remember that I'm a human, you're a human, everybody's a human, and they all have different perspectives and different rights. They all believe that they're right all the time. And that's the tricky part, because what you believe could contradict to what I believe. And if that's the case, we need to find healthy and creative ways to make sure you benefit and I benefit. And that's hence the reason my name is Advocate Productions, and I'm here to talk on anybody's behalf and to help the industry grow towards the direction that I believe it can reach. So, the end. That was good, right?
Yeah. So now we're going to invite Janine Ruiz.
Oh, no questions, wait, boy.
No, the questions I think will come after.
Oh, they'll come after.
Right? Yeah.
Hi. Oh my God. Not me going to trip here. Yeah. Do I also just talk? Just go ahead. Sorry, I'm very awkward. Hi.
So you're basically talking about how you think, how to live successfully as a creative.
Oh,
what your journey was like.
Okay, hi, good night, everyone. I'm Janine. I do a lot of stuff creatively with music. Unlike Kit, I'm not calculated. I'm very free-spirited, no bra and all that. Basically, what I've realized after a lot of trial and error, I've been very passionate about everything. You have to spend time learning your craft. I believe a couple of people spoke about this before, but really and truly, no one has the time to have your best interest in mind because everybody's busy trying to live their life, and life is really fucking hard, you know? So we just try to make the best out of it, and this is why you can't give me a mic, but I don't know if I could curse in here. I don't know if it's illegal. But yeah, so all the stuff that we try to get away from, which is the research on, you know, intellectual property, production work, all the things that we want to be in a good space. We're creatives. We want to have good energy. We want to smoke weed. We want to have a good time and stuff like that. But there's business that goes with everything, and you have to know the business of it to basically put yourselves in better positions. And I think you could get, I don't know how to say this. Basically, you need to invest in yourself, and I realize that a lot. So they don't teach you financial education in school. They don't teach you how to deal with these situations, dealing with people who like to exploit and all these things. So, I mean, I didn't grow up with parents who also did that. So I can't feel sorry for myself my entire life and just complain that, oh my gosh, life is so hard. I don't know how to handle money. I don't want to do marketing. I'm not interested in that. No, it takes all these things. So I started to read, and I hated to read. I used to only read comic books. But no, that shit helps. So I'm just throwing it out there like, you don't have to burn to learn. I would say that, because we do a lot of burning to learn. That's why I started the doodles, because I realized a lot of people go through the same things behind closed doors, but we don't actually, and it's only like when we meet up, when we talk, we're like, oh, so this guy didn't pay you too? Mm-hmm. And we realize that same guy haven't been paying people for like the past 10 years. And then we realize, oh, so then I could put my foot down.
So actually, I want to take that opportunity to toss a question, because we do have producers in this space, but of course, on the panel, we have producers. I've seen that yourself and Kit just, started us going. We have instrumentalists, we have vocalists, and we have producers. A lot of people don't actually know, how do you start the conversation with a producer? I may have an idea in my head. We ain't reached copywriting yet, Rachel. We have the idea in our head, but then you also have to be careful who you work with. So how, from you both, your experiences, or anybody else on the panel, no, we could take the mic, keep the mic on the couch, because that cutter Kit hit me to be up and down, I ain't able. How would you, from your experience or your preference, would you prefer that initial conversation between producer and artist or creative?
You're asking how it should go, right?
Sure.
If you're approaching a producer and you have a song idea.
So I want to do work.
Right.
I sing. I want to do work.
Right.
I'm very careful. I've heard all the horror stories about producers taking your big money and giving you 6 for 9 productions. Or I give you money and I to run you down 8 months, 10 months to get work done because you busy.
Sounds like a government contract.
Yeah. Or maybe you as a producer have had experiences with creatives, right? So how would you go about that initial interaction?
Well, what I do in my situation, I think it will be different for everybody else as well. I think you just need to have a conversation to figure out who you're dealing with, period. Because I think it's very clear and easy to see when somebody is for you and when they're not for you. The kind of language that they use, if they only focus on trying to get a big hit, it's very unlikely that they care about you. I mean, I'm just saying, in my position that I've gotten to, I've been in so many discussions where we try and we push in, everybody investing, and at the end of the day, nobody really cared about each other. And the projects that we actually just sat down and we just did it because we loved it were my biggest songs. So at the end of the day, I think it's about learning how to read energy and asking stupid questions too.
So ideally developing a relationship with your producer. Janine?
Yeah, we have multiple mics.
Oh.
Yeah, I definitely think we run from the money talk a lot because it's taboo, and it definitely creates like division because That's a whole other thing. So be brave and just talk about it. Be upfront. Be like, listen, I'm accustomed getting this. I'm not too sure. Or do your research. Do the same thing. Talk to people when I'm unsure about how to charge for a certain gig, because soca gigs will be different from jazz gigs. I'm not going to guess because I could undersell myself as well as I could oversell and just not book the gig. So talk to people. Try to get as much information as possible. Be open to learning. Be open to having a discussion. When you do try to have a discussion with producers and maybe they kind of shy away from it and like, no, let's just vibe and stuff like that, I feel like that's when you get into tricky areas, and everything is good to have like messages too. I try to have paper trails with WhatsApp messages, keep emails.
I was actually about to ask that because conversations are unprotected. We can have a lot of conversation. Right here, we're having a conversation. But then when we leave this space, how does that convert into actual work? So, Rachel, you have something to say?
No, I said I endorse what Janine just said about having the notes, because I know you asked about the idea component, and a lot of times it starts off with an idea, it starts off with the vibes, and a lot of creatives like to vibe. They hear something like to vibe. And that has also been the area where they have gotten the most licks, because there was no discussion in terms of what the split's going to look like, what's the arrangement, who owns what and what percentage. And then when the hit comes, like Kit said, now everybody's scrambling us, well, I did this, I did that. But those things were not discussed, and I will advise any musicians, before you sing a note, handle your business.
Nigel?
I'm a producer of a live event,
yes.
Right? So I kind of act as a middleman between creatives and an audience.
Mm-hmm.
This business is about an exchange of, at least, music has been kind of devalued globally, and certainly here in Trinidad and Tobago. But it still is an exchange of ideas, and I think an exchange of commerce, money, after pass, right? I advise every young musician, and even the older ones, this is a serious business. A lot of people think of this as a hustle, because it has become a hustle to a lot of people. It's not a hustle. It's real. You could get sued. You could be a pauper. You could get banned, all of these kind of things. It's a business. Be serious. That means you have to learn almost everything. I'm not suggesting that you learn everything, because it becomes a lot, and it kind of impacts your creativity. But it is, I think, imperative for all younger artists to be really good at their craft. I think earlier you had a calculation, 10% talent. I kind of disagree with that. You have to be talented, because it's a competitive arena that we're operating in. I operate one festival, and people call me and say, I want to be in a show, all that kind of stuff. I could guarantee that I could sell out your crowd and that kind of stuff. A simple test. Come here. $100, put your name on the shingle, and let's see how much people you can attract. Then you realize, okay, that's what that is. This is a serious business. Talent, and the thing that I think had been implied here, the business is also about relationships. Sometimes more about relationships than talent, right? But never ever discount talent. Learn your craft, learn it well. I also suggest that every musician practice every single day. You don't get good because you did 4 years at UE. That ain't cutting.
Or you have thousands of followers. You don't get good that way either.
Practice your craft, right? And practice your craft in front of more than your friends, right? So that you actually get better at it. But it's a serious business, and I always encourage everybody, think of it seriously. It's not a hustle. You may get ripped off. There are solutions for not getting ripped off, but think of it seriously. Approach it seriously. Otherwise, you'll be left out. And final comment I should make. Trinidad is not the world. We operate in a space where our most popular music has a very limited time span, right? And a lot of people focus on that if they're not able to travel up the islands or into the diaspora to perform continually. So they only operate within a couple of months. One song, and 1 or 2 songs, hopefully for the next year. I always advise people, you may create locally, collaborate regionally, and that region could be all your friends in the South, or your friends in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, whatever the deal is, right? But always think of selling internationally. It may also mean that you have to adopt a kind of mindset that suggests that, what would somebody in England like? It may be different. And the final thing is, everybody who's an artist, get a website.
Nishad, we almost forget that you're there.
No,
So
I'm here, I'm here.
You're
Just
actually
observing and absorbing.
Yeah, you're in the other side of the seat to your panelists on this topic. What have been some experiences you've had in that conversation with producers and developing those relationships?
I think a lot of artists, a lot of creatives, when we hold a mic or we hold an instrument, we're very outspoken, we're very out there, but in real life, we're very introverted. And I actually fall into that category. In my real life, I'm a very introverted person. So one of the most difficult conversations to have for me is a conversation about money with anybody. It could be a producer, it could be my father, it could be my brother, it could be my friend. But I think once you burn once, you kind of learn after that. And one thing I've also learned as well is if you want to be a professional at what you do, it is important to surround yourself with other professionals, people who treat it as a profession, not just like a hobby. I mean, there is value when it comes to the hobby aspect of it as well. But if you are dealing with professionals, then I don't think it is difficult to have that initial conversation where we could say, okay, this is XYZ, this is how we are moving forward, and it's as easy as that.
Just to remind all of you in our audience, the mic is here. The conversation is not between myself and the panelists. You're all welcome to come up, ask a question if you have any questions, yeah? All right. I feel like you're being polite still, and I would really like to, you've all mentioned experiences, that burn to learn kind of thing. Experience is the best teacher. I mean, big up the universities, but experience, whoo, child. What have been any kind of teaching experience with other creatives in the business that you can share with people to learn from?
Hi.
You could omit names.
No, I will have to. All right.
Yes, I don't want no lawyers calling Kyle.
So, I mean, we've been involved in a lot of the soca environment and the competitions and so forth. There's a particular artist that we dealt with at a point in time that the agreement was we get a percentage of the winnings, right? Right? Not, he didn't win, right? So it's not Ola. So it's not Ola, so don't assume. Right. And in the agreement that we had, which was a written agreement and so forth, we get a percentage of the winnings. Well, he decided that he didn't want to give that percentage because he believed it was his own and he won it with the song that he did on My Rhythm. And he persists to say that he's not going to, and then he calls me and said he's going to shoot up my house and thing. And impressive, right? This artist has no longer have a career, not because I chose it. I think his bad energy or his negative energy kind of, he ended up exiting himself. The attitude towards it. And from that experience, I kind of realized, yes, we burn to learn, but you have to draw a line. You have to say no. Like, I never work with that person again.
Set boundaries.
You have to. Like, if you don't set the boundaries, you're going to get taken advantage of over and over and over again. There's so many situations where I own the master and a lot of artists come back to me to try and own the master because the song is so popular. But the agreement is the agreement. You didn't pay me for nothing. And I still give you a percentage because I was being kind at the moment.
Are you one of those producers who are open to renegotiations of agreements?
Renegotiations, no. But I'm open to any.
Masters.
I'm not open to renegotiations. I'm open to negotiating in the beginning because your true intentions usually show up at that point.
Oh, so, that one stir up some people. Let me hear some comments there.
Kid, may I ask a question? You just said I didn't pay you anything. This is something I'm curious about, especially when a producer has a rhythm.
Right.
Do you pay the singers on your rhythm? Or do they pay you to come on your rhythm?
Well, it gets tricky. We have offered to pay them, but some of them choose not to, right? So like if you're dealing with a Jamaican artist, I think it's something like 3,000 US or 5,000 US you can pay and you can get a Jamaican artist and they don't get anything on the master and you get the song, right? I've heard that situation before. It's so flexible out there where it should have a standard, but it really doesn't. It's really whatever you negotiate with people. In the situation, in my situation, I write the song, I produce the song, I mix the song, I do the artwork, I do the backgrounds, I do every single thing on it. So when people sing on my song...
You write all the lyrics?
I write most of them, yeah. Like
that Tender Rhythm, I reviewed it for...
Well, no, Daryl wrote down, but fortunately, Daryl, I consider family and team, so we say we. Right, Daryl? Right.
But the thing is, I'm serious. I'm curious about this idea because there's this kind of very relaxed relationship between soca artists in terms of performing live even. So an artist had a show, and he was supposed to have 6 guest artists. Only 3 turned up. And when I asked the question, he said, well, there's a kind of barter kind of thing. Well, I do one for you and you do one for me. So I'm recognizing that there's a system that exists here in Trinidad where we don't write anything down. We trade contracts, right? And I'm wondering, in your situation, you said I had an agreement. I'm assuming this artist who didn't want to give you the percentage, you had a paper agreement.
Paper agreement, yeah.
Right. So again, just in your situation, you have a very flexible arrangement. Some artists you will pay to get on your rhythm.
If the opportunity presents itself, yes.
And some artists is you offer them and they say no.
They can say no, of course.
They can say no, but do they say no?
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
Artists, do ever say no? If a man offer you money.
I have a question about this because this is a conversation that I've had with many artists in terms of the dynamics between a producer and the artist and the arrangement, especially when it comes to the master agreement. Now, in your case, Kit, this is different because you're saying that you're doing different components in the production. What do you say when, okay, a person comes, they bring their arrangement to you for you to produce, and because you've produced it, automatically there's some kind of understanding that because you're the production, you're the producer, you own the master. What comes into there?
In that situation, what she was explaining was the person brings their idea, right? Even if it's a piece of music or a song or whatever the case. In that situation, the artist should approach them as a work for hire, right? You pay them to do a job and then they leave. That's it. But if nothing was agreed upon, then technically the producer still owns the master. But it doesn't own the copywriter. It's two different things. Yeah.
You use that phrase work for hire, and as you know in Trinidad, we do not have that as part of our law.
Right, but the law is outdated and
but
it needs to be
beyond
upgraded.
that, you can make any arrangement by just writing something on a piece of paper and agreeing to it, right? So I think you've answered my question. I'm just curious about any of the 11 or 12 artists we spoke to earlier, if any of them have any questions, because Nishad is here.
Can I just clarify one thing? I know it is true that we don't have a work for hire agreement in Trinidad and Tobago, but we are also signed to the Berne Convention, which speaks to the work for hire in that agreement as well.
As I said, one of the things that exists is you can do anything as long as you have a contract.
Correct.
So although the law says you wrote the song, therefore you own the copyright, you can sign a piece of paper that basically waves away the copyright. And artists can sell their music. Our greatest calypsonian sold all his music to a Guyanese musician living in Barbados. Don't let me call names. Don't start me up. Don't start me up. Right? And you're hearing his music on the HBO and all that kind of stuff. I know somebody ain't getting that royalties.
Super Bowl halftime
Do not start me up.
That's a whole different conversation myself, but there's also the moral right component that they can now plead to and discuss in terms of how that music was now utilized.
Okay, hold on. I'll say this. We have now entered a part of the conversation that I think goes beyond musicians, where it gets very legal. And if we have to be very honest, legal and entertainment in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have enough support. I have observed, yes, we have a lot of lawyers in Trinidad, but not entertainment lawyers. And I've observed a lot of the producers now are choosing or opting to have legal representatives outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Anybody want to make comments that can assist the creatives when they are having a conversation with themselves and a legal representative?
Okay, so you're right. We don't have a lot of entertainment attorneys. But at the same time, what we need to also understand is even the precedent that exists in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have a lot of precedent that dictates how we navigate this space in terms of issues like what Kit has mentioned and other things. However, in terms of the world of IP, there's a lot of things that are unveiling right now, and with respect to the producers, whilst in the past, yes, they would have created their own contracts, they would have gone to their own lawyers that may not necessarily be entertainment attorneys or IP attorneys. The neighboring rights component now factors in the producers in the equation and now gives them a platform now in terms of in which they can now earn. But at the same time, for the creatives, in terms of the artists, they too need to understand how they now approach the situation in terms of how you lay the terms It could be on a piece of paper, it could be on a napkin, certain things to dictate how we move on, because that is a legal binding document. It could be on a piece of paper right there.
Yeah, sure, but however, we say that. We do. We encourage, right? We encourage doing a contract, even if it's a lazy man / poor man version of it. But there are things, if somebody don't know that they don't know, how would I know to put it in a document or to write it down? So what would you advise creatives, seeing that we don't have that option here?
We do have the option, but I would also strongly advise our collective management organizations like Music TT, Creative TT, to continue to do workshops with our creatives so that they get the understanding of what they need to do to build their brand, build their business, and also to do well in the industry. Because we need organizations to play that role until we build the industry and the infrastructure so that they know what they need to do. Sessions like this are important so that you take the information, you learn from those who have been there, who have been burnt, and what they did to remedy the situation, so that now you can move forward and not repeat the same mistakes. I'm happy that we have a different caliber of musicians coming about who want to know about the business, because in the past, a lot of us did not know. We had to find out the hard way. And right now, as I said, precedent is something that we need to push for. Because a lot of times when you hear about issues with contracts and musicians and it reaches the court, it's thrown out because even the judiciary, the judges do not understand the nuances that exist in the entertainment industry. It's not the same. And we need those to understand the nuances so that we can now build the business.
Nigel, you want to say something?
One of the things I want to make clear, you suggested that people go to these conferences. I've been covering this creative industries company, as well as the one previously, TTN, for over 10 years for the papers, right? And I know that all these companies, Creative TT, Music TT, and TTN, and IP Office, and COT even, have sessions, workshops. 90% of them are free. Correct. They're open to every creative in the country. They have about 20 people, unless they're serving free food or something so.
Yeah.
And then you hear a horror story 2 weeks after based on something that I know was dealt with in a course there. Artists have to be serious. I can't endorse this enough. You go to a conference, learn. You may not have an A-level or a university degree, but you have to learn, because that is your bread and butter. Learn.
You're saying be present to listen.
Be there and learn. Ask questions. We're here, the only person asking a question is you, Jarrell.
Yes, I've noticed that too, but I didn't want to out anybody. Nishad, you have any comments you want? Oh, hold on, Alexandra is coming.
On that point, I do have a question. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandra. I've been listening attentively to everything you've been saying, and this is a topic that's very close to my heart. In my own path as an artist, I have faced a variety of contracts. And it takes so much to even address the vocabulary that you're not familiar with. To that, I would say Google is your best friend. And if you know somebody who knows somebody who's a lawyer, they're your best friend too. Because the language is often extremely unfriendly to artists, and it's not written with your benefits in mind. A contract always has someone's benefits in mind, and if it's not your contract, it's not your benefits. So take a second and sit with it and don't just rush to sign things. Agreed.
Rachel is saying she's happy that she said your contract.
I do want to ask, because you said something that struck me, which was basically that Trinidad's freight contract, that's something that is a difficult conversation to have. And I found that people find the minute you want to write things down, they take it that kind of way. How do we navigate that kind of culture of you mention contracts and therefore you're unfriendly and you don't like them?
I'm sorry, I mean, I'm not on the panel, but if...
You want to take this? Go ahead, Jarrell.
I just want to say one thing. If you want to do business with me and I present a contract to you and you don't want to deal with a contract, you are not the person I'm to do business with. Like, walk away. Walk away. That is a red flag right there. You're not serious. Just let it go.
I just want to say also, the word agreement means that both parties agree to something. If somebody drops a 200-page document in front of you and says, sign this, and you can't agree to it, don't sign it. It might give you $1 million advance for just one song or something, so you might be losing out. But at the end of the day, you may not be a lawyer. Contracts can be worded in simple language. Right? It can be. You could say, well, I do not understand this. Put it in simple language for me. And it has to be an agreement and a meeting of the minds, as it was.
There's an intimidation culture almost, and as creatives, you have to be...
You got to be bold and brave. If you want to stand up in front of an audience of people who really come to see you, you have to be bold and brave.
Say, I don't understand, clarify this, what's this about?
Ask questions, even if it's after every single sentence. Ask questions. Do not be afraid. At the end of the day, it is your business, and if this is your livelihood, you got to stand up for your livelihood.
Walk with a notebook.
Walk with it. We have a question. We have a question from the audience now.
Good night, all. What I would like to address, yes, you may see all the workshops being provided and they're free, but let's talk about the time where they are available at. Wednesday from 8 to 12. And we all know that artists need that 9 to 5 or that 8 to 4
to live,
to really survive, to be able to go to the studio to get their art out. When last have you seen a course on a Saturday where it could be available for the masses to be able to attend it?
They've had them.
But it's far and wide. So let's address that also, because things cannot happen in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, and expect a full attendance. Please. Thank you.
Nishad, you've been very quiet on this.
Can I just clarify one thing? Well, to speak to what Nigel said about the contract component. What I've noticed a lot of times, especially for the entertainment...
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, let's just manage the noise a bit so those who are listening and learning can hear. I want to ask everybody if we can manage the noise a bit so those who are listening and learning can hear. Thank you.
What I've noticed a lot of times, especially if you have to deal with corporates, they usually present artists with their contract. I remember having to deal with a corporate client for an artist because the contract spoke about the corporate's IP, but there was no mention about the artist's IP in terms of how long you're going to use that artist's identity. Exactly. Their image and their likeness.
Oh, the word perpetual.
Oh, yes. And so a lot of times what you see happening is that you see ads on television or you're in radio. Some of those ads are 20, 30 years old with the person's image on rotation. There's no discussion about that.
Creatives don't consider their value even after they have passed.
Sorry about that. We don't have, our laws, I think somebody said it was, you said it was outdated. We have really and truly old laws. And the lawmakers are the ones who change the laws. One of the other things that happens is the idea of having a collective. The persons who can convince a lawmaker to change the law is a collective, a manufacturers association, a chamber of commerce, right? What has to happen? What has to happen is this idea of image and likeness, which is a thing that is being sold now, Tina Turner's image and likeness, James Brown, exists in America, and it only exists, it started in California, to the Hollywood scene, right? We don't necessarily have it here. We have copyright and we have neighboring rights now. But if it's becoming a thing now where we have actors working in Netflix movies and all that kind of stuff, that can become a thing, right? So we have, as I say, you can write a contract, a corporate client could say, this is what I want. The idea of perpetual, which you just said, if that pops up, let that be the major red flag. The word perpetual comes up, say nah. End of story. Because a contract should also be time limited.
Yeah. Nishad, I'm sorry, I don't want to leave you out of the conversation and we have to start a wrap.
No, that's fine. I think most of the major points were actually covered in terms of this particular topic. So I don't think I have anything really to add.
All right, so I'm allowing the floor for one more question and that's it. Because we do have a rest of a program. We have to hear the band and whatnot, right?
I have one question. I just wanted to know, especially for the producers, but everybody, why does there seem to be such a disconnect between the musicians and live musicians and live instruments and the music that we produce?
The beef between producers and live instrumentalists.
Take both mics.
The rhythm boss. Rhythm have replaced musicians on stage, sir.
All right, guys, let's focus
What's the
here.
war?
Let's
What's
focus
up?
here.
What's up, kid? What's up?
All right, I can only speak from my personal experience, right? I did not grow up in live music. I grew up behind a computer, and I was a nerd. So everything I did was on the computer. So I never had real reason to go and approach a musician. If I needed guitar, I would have played it or have found a way to get it played, right? Yeah, my dad is Roger Israel, and he's a musician. However,
He is not your father. Like what he telling you.
I am saying this because my dad has a philosophy of leave and let be, and you will learn when life teaches you. So he doesn't really teach. He just he creates a safe environment for people to learn, right? Which is I think is a good philosophy. But live instruments, for me, I was actually talking to one of the individuals, and he does brass and so forth. And for me, I hate recording brass. I hate recording live instruments. It's different than what I'm accustomed to. So me personally, I will say, to answer your question, me personally, I just not want live music like that. However, if I do need live music, I'll play it for myself.
But I'll also say artists also need to, and this is part of Nigel's contribution the entire evening, part of doing the work is knowing who to go to.
Of course.
So if you are going to go to a producer because you are an
need to pick the right
instrumentalist,
producer.
go to a producer who knows how to
deal with
record
live music,
live instruments.
But we cannot also expect other producers to do live music when they're not interested in it.
Well,
but if it is you pick the right producers, I think you could build a very good relationship
I want to
with
say
them.
something here, right? So what I would say is that is the biggest answer to why producers and musicians don't click. Because I have realized in my experience too that the producers that I've interacted with, they don't know anything about music.
They're not musicians.
We know a little.
Sir.
Do you?
A
Sir.
little.
Do you?
Some know more than others.
Okay, no, but I'm saying there's a disconnection in language and stuff like that, right? But
No, I don't know what is C major 7 to diminish to whatever. I don't speak that
But
language.
the thing is, we can help each other out. But
Yes.
my point is, the thing is,
I think that still comes back to Nigel's point. That's part of doing the work, the learning the language of music, you
but
know?
before we get there, we can't really convince producers to hire us. I think every time there's a space that lacks something, there's an opportunity for somebody to create that space. So like this,
yes,
Kaiso Blues Cafe, like where else can you go that's really like this? This space was crazy because there was a lack of it.
Correct.
As musicians, we have the ability to be producers too. It's not easy we keep relying on community.
Putting the work on somebody else.
Putting your work on somebody else, correct? And I think the best way to solve a problem is usually to be the solution kind of thing. I've realized in myself, I don't really know who to go to for me to get hired. I compose music for films and self-directors. You know, they don't really know composers and stuff. So I've recently started doing more filmy things for myself to show people this is what I could do. This is a space that exists. And to be honest, if you're going to have musicians who become producers, producing more brass lines and stuff like that, it may be something that becomes interesting to
Actually, yeah, if there was like a brass line sample pack, I will buy it. I'm just saying.
So it's good to pay attention to what they pay attention to, as well as what we would pay attention to.
Yeah, I guess the moral of the story is we need to stop depending on others, period.
Yeah.
If you don't know the jargon in a contract, learn it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what perpetuity means, it means forever, just learn it. Like, it took me about 10 years to learn how to actually speak contract now.
Yes.
And I know it in and out where it is I don't need a lawyer, however, I still reflect.
Yes.
Oh, something else I was going to say. My friend who's a lawyer.
Just cut more.
I'm sorry. I want to say this really quickly. My friend who's a lawyer, she wanted to be an entertainment lawyer, but she said there aren't enough cases for her to sustain her lifestyle.
True.
So again...
However, I'll add to that. We were actually having that conversation early on. We do have to be open to the reality that the culture is changing.
Yes.
And there is a shift. And actually, the conversation I was having is a lawyer who is actually in this space right now, not entertainment law, but we were having that conversation because now a lot of creatives, and again, wow, Nigel, I never thought I'd be referencing you so much in one night. Be bold. Be bold-faced about it. Force the conversations. Not be afraid to come and ask a question. Force the conversations, and the more people forcing the conversations will force a culture.
Just before you go to that, just last interjection. The whole point of lawyers and producers, the same way how when I choose a character in a game that best suits me to win this game, I could go and select and see all the stats on this producer does live music, he does brass. Where's that listed?
The website that Nigel mentioned.
That's on.
Everybody should have their website.
Is everybody on that website?
No, hold on, listen to what I'm saying.
No, you as the creator should have your own website that tells you.
However,
so there's no one location I can go and see a listing.
Yes, there's the artist registry.
Music TT, artist registry. Do you know about those two websites?
Yes.
You know, have the OPR too that you can
things,
check
right?
listings.
They have those things. Okay.
Yes.
Because
Data is
taking
king now.
this teach yourself with a pinch of salt, a grain of salt. The trying to recreate and rebuild the wheel instead of pointing and assisting. Yes, I will have to learn, but to start from scratch all the time and not having enough community, as I stated.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
The music industry has evolved. Years and years ago, it was making CDs. Now it's all about streaming. It's about building your fan base as it is. So that we have to understand there's also evolution. Nothing is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to constantly learn and also constantly relearn.
Because
in Trinidad, live music may be more important than recording.
I want to also say a big point that kind of changed my perspective on this is that Trinidad is still a young country. You know, compared to America, compared to Europe and stuff, they've had a lot more time to have these same issues, trying to figure it all out from scratch, and then they've built a system that we could now observe, but we are very behind, but as you say, we are evolving, but it would take time, and it literally takes everybody in this room here to move differently, to literally change so that our children could be able. When I was in Bishop's as my high school, there wasn't music for Form 6. And by like 2 years later, there was music. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're on wonderful behavior whole evening.
Hands up.
Get it together.
Yes, so I was saying, it's a very young country. When I was in school, they didn't have music in Form 6. 2 years later, they had it. I was accompanying people. It literally, I don't know how to stress this enough, our actions today, when you take that job for $200 and you think it's just you doing that because you need the money to buy, it's everybody's being affected by that. Mm-hmm. And the same thing where you have your boundaries and you value yourself, it really makes a difference because I used to be getting a lot of, jobs coming in, we want to use you for this, paying small money and stuff like that. I eventually upped my price a lot because I learned my value. I lost a lot of jobs, but the thing about it is those people who I lost were people who used to not pay me, exploit me. They would take 8 months to pay me, and it was terrible. When I raised my
all
price...
government spaces in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, go ahead.
When I raised my price...
NCC, especially calling you right now.
When I raised my price, I had, let's just say, 1 or 2 people hiring me for the month. But the funny thing about that is those 1 or 2 people, the amount of pay that I was getting could have handled me for the month. Yes. They had no problem paying me. They never fought me down for my price and stuff.
So now that you've identified your value, you are attracting your audience.
Correct. Don't be afraid to call your price. But you also, as Nigel and all of us have been saying, you have to know your craft. You have to really... If you want to demand professionalism, you have to be professional too. And it's not as easy as it sounds. People are going to... Oh, sorry. Yeah, people are going to always want to cut you behind the scenes. It's always going to be easy. You know what? This guy's a real big guy. It's okay if I do it. No, you have to make the hard decisions when it's just you and that other person on the call too.
Thank you, Janine.
Oh, wait, last thing, just to add on to our conversation. We don't want to be wrong and strong as well.
Sure.
Because you could bowl yourself out in the industry or get yourself blacklisted. The same topic that I brought up at the beginning is relationship and humans we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So you just need to find and strike a good balance between that. So yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we hear it for our panel and all the questions and this conversation? I really hope people are learning. And right now, we want to get everyone's attention to stage side. So if you are standing, we want to invite everybody to come closer, please, because now we have the performance and we don't want to have this empty space here. So as we get ready to continue with our program, Tell Your Story, this, of course, festival project led by Kyle Peters. Again, Kyle hosted a program to help support and develop 11 creatives in the space. Earlier on, you would have had the opportunity to get to chat with them, mingle with them, but we've been talking about music and entertainment, and we haven't actually gotten any music and entertainment. So we're gonna get ready for the band's first performance. Out of the 11 musicians, instrumentalists, we actually have one vocalist in the band, and this is Miss Carice Rollins. You all haven't heard her yet for the evening. And of course, what they are about to do for you, arranged, MD'd by, of course, Kyle Peters. Can we close up this space, please? Come forward, come forward, come forward. Let's show some respect to our artists. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for where we don't have an official band title, so we'll just call them The Band. Kyle Peters Creatives.
And I can't get enough. Must be love on the brain, and it keeps cursing my name. No matter what I do, I'm no good without you, and I can't get enough. Must be love on the brain. Baby, keep loving me, love me, love me. All you need to do is love me. Get me like I'm tired of being played like a violin. What do I gotta do to get it in your mother heart? Fighting with fire just to get close to you. Oh, can we burn something, babe? And I'll run from miles just to get a taste. Must be love on the brain, and it keeps cursing my name. No matter what I do, I'm no good without you, and I can't get enough. Must be love on the brain, and it keeps cursing my name. It beats me black and blue, but it me so good, and I can't get enough. Must be love on the brain. Baby, keep loving me, love me, oh, love me. All you need to do is love me. Get me like I'm tired of being played like a violin. What do I gotta do to get it in your mother heart? Baby, like don't you stop loving me. Don't quit loving me. Just start loving me. Yeah. Must be love on the brain. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once more for Miss Carice Rollins. The band is still staying with us, and we're getting ready to bring on our another featured creative, this time on our national instrument, the steel pan. She's getting ready to come on stage and give us Alicia Keys' Superwoman. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have on our national instrument, the steel pan. Please welcome Ms. Tijuana Hernandez. Tijuana Hernandez. Let's hear it for all 11 of our featured creatives this evening. And we want to welcome back to the space and to the stage Mr. Kyle Peters to close us off.
So what you all thought about that performance? Let's hear it for them once again. All right. So I want to say special thanks to these 11. If you, all of you all could come up, please. Just come up, come up, come up, come up, come up. Come up, come up, come up, come up. Some of them I met for the first time through this program. Others I knew from before. How you all felt this sound though? I can get them a little better, you know? Right? So these bunch of talented musicians, artists, this is the first time they are actually working together, you know, and it's... Come on forward a little more. All the choke up in the corner, all afraid to come up. Right? Okay, all right, cool. So it took a couple of weeks for us to really work together, for them to gel, you know, and I saw that they put in the hard work, and from the first rehearsal to now, could definitely see a major improvement, you know. So I'm really, really proud of them. I thank them for being a part of this program, for trusting me, you know, and, you know, for giving up the time, the effort, and everything. I applaud you all for the wonderful work. I don't know if you all really looked through their press kits and stuff like that. All of that was done from the program. They never had any of these things done before. Even the pictures, it was professional photography done. For some of them, it was their first time. So it's a lot of first-time experiences they had through this program. And I'm really proud of who they have become, and, you know, and really going through the journey with me. So give them another round of applause. I will be giving all of them a certificate of participation. Right? I know it's kind of late right now, otherwise I would have distributed them one by one. I hope that the band continues. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if they will really remain together and so forth. But these are our 11. Nathaniel Guerra. We just heard Tijuana Hernandez on pan. Charles Williams on trumpet. John Waterman on the bass. Carice Marie Rollins. Carice, our fans here. Keon Batiste on the pan. We have Macasey Gooden on the drums. Christopher Thomas, our guitarist. Nicholas Sylvan on the sax. This man is just like a big teddy bear. Swear. Joseph Ward on the trombone. And we have a little a one-hand keyboardist with us, Mr. Josiah Green. I would definitely like to applaud him for still making the effort after his incident and so forth. He still came out and played. He played, right? And I just have a ride or die in the back here. He was not a part of the program, but due to the circumstances, I asked him for a little extra help, right? So we have Joshua Keynes, Hurricane, right? On top of that, I also want to wish Big Teddy Bear here happy birthday. He came out on his birthday to, right? You know, he gave up his day and came out, you know, so I really want to say a special thanks for that, because I don't know if I would have done it on my birthday. I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, I really appreciate it. All God's richest blessings to you, and I hope that all that you wish for yourself, I wish you tenfold. All right. I want to say special thanks to everybody, all of you all for coming out. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You know, it was lovely seeing so many creatives coming together, mingling, networking, and really being a part of this. It shows that I have the support, we have the support, you all were here to give them the support, you know, and it's truly commendable, right? I had a lot of help, like really, really, really a lot of help. Let me find the list, where is it? All right, audio works for the sound. Anthony carried jazz. Where's Mr. Millard? He was a huge, huge, huge help, you know, till he ended up adopting me as a son and all, you know. Cafe Blue for the space, Smart Biz, iRadio TT, Simple Customs, Fusion Lab, Telio Systems Limited, LG Stage Management, Question Mark Entertainment, Power Hub Media, Music TT, Creative Rebels, Cut, Keys Studios, Hotfoot Harmony, David Allen, Zigboy Entertainment, Route Creations. I hope I'm not leaving out anybody. Cadence is Creative Rebels, so they're fast. Right? They don't know that, right? Raucous Productions. Who else? Who else? All the panelists, Advocate, Israel Kit, Nishad M, Mr. Nigel Campbell, Janine Ruiz, and our lovely host for the night, Gerald Forbes. Let's give Gerald Forbes a round of applause for being the co-host for tonight. Special thanks to Miss Tamara Debreo. She is my supervisor. She's on the couch there. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the support. Right? I hope you give me a real good mark, Miss, for all this work.
Real marks. Real
Right?
marks.
Even the some of my colleagues, Nalaja, it had somebody else. Listia was here earlier, so forth. Right? So thank you everyone for coming out. I hope you all reach home safely. And let's look forward. Oh, Mr. Emmanuel, he is also part of the festival project. His showcase would be on Saturday at St. Joseph
Youth Facility.
Police Youth Facility, right?
Story
It's
Quest.
at
Story
1
Fest.
p.m. Story Quest. So if you all really have the time, I think you all should go and take in his project as well, right? We need his support. We also have some others from the festival project course, right? Right. So again, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And this is the end of the official project.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Kyle Peters. This has been Tell Your Story 2024. On behalf of Kyle Peters, once more, we thank you all for coming out. And on your way out, someone at the exit will invite you to scan a QR code so that you can do a survey and give your review about this evening's event.
Yes,
once
please.
more, my name is Gerald Forbes. Thank you very much for being an attentive and patient audience today. And we hope to see you at the next event, whenever, wherever. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, so the band is going to play a couple more songs, and then the floor is pretty much open up for any artists who want to showcase themselves, right? You have a crowd, you can have a time. And we have more food still, right? But this is the end of the official part of the project. Thanks again. Have a good night.
Good night. This is an initiative that I totally endorse because networking is very important. And if we learn to use it effectively, we can really do wonders. The piece I'm going to do is from my book called They Stole It, I Must Replace It. And the piece is called You Can't Kill My Dreams. And as a creative, we all have ups and downs when it comes to our particular talents. Let you continue being the part maker of your particular dream, and dreams are important to life. So with that being said, let no one kill it or kill your dreams. Hold on to it and see your dreams live on to some form of successes. You can't kill my dreams. You may kill my children and cause me deep pain as cancer. You may destroy my kismet, but like an eagle I rise. You may give me an infamous name, but like fire and rain, it fades away like money. You may flip to my face, but like the sun I shine. You can't kill my dreams. You may kill me with your actions, but like my belief, it sings. You may take your life from me and cause me deep loss, but still I rise as stars. You may shatter my family, but after a loved one died, life goes on. You may take my joy, but like my first, take shape in my God. You can't kill my dreams. You may be bars because of my race, but like my life I run to pray. My foot may be set by you, but the earth is spin zone. You may kill me, but you can't kill my dreams. Because all my dreams live in you and me. You may kill me, but I still sow. You may kill me, but I sow still. And you can't kill my dreams. You just can't. And you know what? You may try. Thank you.
Good night. Another one, the next one. That 1 second. Hi, good night everyone. My name is Hayaman. I'm a hip hop artist. And I'll be performing 2 tracks. I hope you all enjoy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, alrighty then. It's Hayaman as usual. Just let the beat rock.
6.
Another day at the factory. I want to rub it on quick, but I want to get in your panty. Had 2 chicks plus an auntie. Spend your money as it goes, spend your money at the grocery. I'm a king paparazzi, and I had the thing stuck, bitch, don't interrupt me. And I'm right in my mind, who's the Lord Hayaman, and I truly miss my mom. Well, you really want to bring a lawyer just for me? Please inform them that you wanted to do music, but you had no money, so you had to try and just outsmart them. There's a shot to your brain and your brother insane. I want 12 for the music and the pain. I go do this music again and again, and to tell you the truth, your music well lame. 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 Wow.